Welcome. This is the report of the Anchorage Tribe's Tlingit and Haida Indians of Alaska annual meeting. It will go over the highlights of the year and what we had planned to go over during the meeting. This year we held officer elections. We had a strategic planning meeting where the executive team and officers got together and talked about what we wanted to have as our goals for the year. We talked about meeting expectations. We've updated our announcements and the way that we communicate with tribal members. We've streamlined the way that we provide reports. And during the meeting, we were going to do nominations, resolutions, and candidate speeches. Unfortunately, we did not have a quorum at the time of our meeting, and so it was dismissed. Elected officials were sworn in on April 9th, 2015. The officers were Tasha Hodge as president, Mike Karras as vice president, who later resigned, Ashley Colon as secretary, Shirley Kendall as treasurer, Martin Ben Gonet as sergeant at arms. Our council members are Gil Stokes, Marvin Adams, Ron Malott, Walter Johnson, and Diane McKinley. During the previous 2 years, we did have 11 delegates, and they were Marvin Adams, Shirley Kendall, Ronald Malott, Gilbert Stokes, Ashley Colon, Alvin Dooner Edenshaw, Martin Gonet, Diane McKinley, Geraldine Jerry Jamestown, Tasha Hodge, and Mike Karras for 2014, and then he resigned and that spot was filled by Victoria Canol Dunn. On March 24th, the officers got together before they were sworn in to talk about the goals for the year, and we called that our strategic planning meeting. Some of our goals included increasing gathering attendance. We were able to meet quorum, and that was an increase in gathering attendance for us. For cultural activities, we wanted to start incorporating more cultural activities into our events. So we've had native dance groups perform at our picnic, and we were doing the Tlingit word of the day at the beginning of our membership meetings. We wanted to raise funds. We did get our gaming permit, and so we held our first raffle, and that was done in December during our Christmas party. We were required to do at least one raffle using our gaming permit or we would lose it. So we did have some learning experiences. We do have another raffle in the works, and that will be drawn during Tribal Assembly in April. And the funds are being raised so that we could join a multi-beneficiary here in Anchorage. And with those funds, we hope to support our committees. One of our goals was to do our own Toys for Tots instead of relying on Toys for Tots. We did look around for donations from tribal members. We did have some of the social committee members purchase items for our Christmas party, but we did end up ultimately receiving a donation from Toys for Tots. We decided to activate our standing committees. This was a huge thing. We do have standing committees as part of our agenda of a regular report. So each officer was asked to participate in one standing committee and to chair that committee so that the officers could stay informed of what the committees were doing. And any action that the committees wanted to do needed to be approved through the tribe. One of our goals was to start youth activities. We had sent a youth to the Elders and Youth Conference. I believe that this is the first time that we've done that. We had several games and activities for them at the picnic that we held in July and at our Christmas party, including a selfie booth and a place to make Christmas cards. And we had a performance on Elizabeth Peradovich Day that was given by our youth. We've struggled with what the requirements are for a quorum. The Constitution says it's 2/3 of our officers and 10 voting eligible tribal members. And the maybe confusion was, can an officer also be counted as a tribal member? So to clarify, we do need 7 of our officers in attendance plus 10 voting eligible tribal members. So 17 is the minimum people to attend our meeting to establish a quorum. We wanted to approve our gaming bylaws, and those were so that we could have accountability from the gaming committee so that they could adhere to the state regulations. So as you can see, we do have a number of standing committees, and so listed next to each of them is the chair. And the only one that was kind of defaulted is the finance chair has to be our treasurer, so that was Shirley Kendall. Reports. We've been doing really well about communicating out information from our committees as they've been active. Highlights our active committees are on the agenda to provide reports, and we have approved our constitution to be voted on for revision. The last time this was done was 1987. We did have 100% compliance from delegates to provide a report to our membership as described in our constitution. This is not a requirement that is of the delegates by Central Council. This is an Anchorage tribe's requirement for their delegates. A standard report has been developed to use if committee is doing a written report. Our meetings. Our agendas have been posted at least 7 days prior to the meetings, and written copies have been available at all of the meetings. Meetings are advertised on Facebook, the Anchorage Daily News, and our tribe's website, anchoragetribes.weebly.com. A distribution list was created in Yahoo to share email updates about meetings or other tribal functions. And we also use telephones, but that's not a super formalized process yet, but we do text and make phone calls when we have contact information. Our start time. Our monthly membership meetings do start at 6 o'clock p.m. We have had challenges with obtaining a quorum at that time. We usually meet the 2/3 officer and 10-member requirement closer to 6:45 p.m. This was being brought up so that we could ask the membership if this was a sufficient time to have the meeting, if the day of the week was working, or if it would be better to have on a weekend, or if we wanted a later start time. And so just to provide that information for that background to see if this was a good meeting time. We currently meet Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Our constitution permits us to deliver reports without a quorum, but we are unable to take action or make motions without a quorum. General comments should always be for the good of the order. Recognition to address the chair is to share information, not to argue with members. Personal attacks are not tolerated in our meetings or on our social media sites. Robert's Rules relaxed. Our meetings are run using Robert's Rules of Order with the expectation that not everyone understands Robert's Rules of Order, so the rules are slightly relaxed. This allows for more opportunity for discussion and an explanation of the process. We have had some great moments throughout the year, and here are some of them that we have pictures for. We did have an Easter party, our summer picnic, our July 4th participation in the parade, our Christmas party, and Elizabeth Paradovich Day. Here's Easter. You can see one of our tribal members with one of our very active youth, Dakota Siebert, playing our Easter Bunny. These were pictures from the Easter party.
I just get really excited about the Easter kids. And it's always in my opinion. We don't decorate here, we normally decorate. I like to see the kids smile, get all excited. I enjoy watching Easter bunny. Have an awful Easter bunny. Something I enjoy doing. I like to do it. Do it again soon, okay? Bye-bye.
And here's our July 4th participation in the parade. We were asked to walk with bridge builders during the 4th of July parade. Pam C. really helped coordinate this effort. We had a great summer picnic, a huge turnout. The social committee really went above and beyond in getting donations to make this very successful. We had over 50 door prize items. The large door prize at the end of the day was a large screen television. We had activities for the kids like fishing, a piñata, sack races, three-legged races. It was just a wonderful time. We had school supplies for the kids as well. During AFN, there were a number of activities that the tribe was invited to participate in, such as the joint Tlingit and Haida and Sea Alaska dinner. AFN, Anchorage tribes helped coordinate for a dance group, the Children of All Nations, to dance over at the Alaska Native Medical Center during AFN. And that was really a nice treat because then they were able to cater to folks that weren't able to leave the hospital and they were able to enjoy some of that participation. Back in 2014, Anchorage submitted a resolution for a tribal artist registry. The resolution idea came from Helen McNeil. We had a great Christmas party. We had a selfie booth. We had Santa Claus, presents, lots of food. The social committee, cultural committee was able to get donations in the amount of $650 to help put on the event. The actual event costed a little bit around $1,000, so they made up that difference themselves out of their own pockets and donated items for door prizes. And we had a Christmas card making booth where kids could go and make Christmas cards either for their families and friends or leave them and we could send them to people that are staying in the hospital. We had an Elizabeth Paradovich Day event. Our meeting, we did that during our February meeting, and you can see we had lots of youth involved with this, including tribal member children, as well as Mary Suits brought in her Girl Scout troop, and they did a little song and performance for us. It was really enjoyed by all and inspired a lot of conversation about the changes that we've gone through and some of the things we're still battling today. Our president's report. It has been an exceptional year. The executive team was offered at the beginning of the year to do a Robert's Rules training, and the officers declined the training opportunity due to personal time constraints. This is something that I think would benefit our whole community and something we should revisit in the near future so that we could have more structure to our meetings and our announcements. Some exciting things. We do have a YouTube presence. The video that was played earlier for the ATTHIA Easter party is online. Some of the Tlingit talks and some of the things from our meetings are posted on YouTube. Just find them by searching ATTHIA or Anchorage Tribes. We have had pretty good attendance from our officers. You can see if there's an X that they attended the meeting, and then you can see that there's a no notice, late notice, or not notified. And notified means that someone called or emailed at least 2 hours prior to the event. Late notice means it was within 2 hours of the meeting time, and sometimes it was even during the meeting. It would be the meeting starts at 6, and I would get a text message at 6:20 saying, sorry, I can't make it to the meeting. No notice means that the member did not contact to say they were unable to attend. The excused is not a term found in our Constitution, so even though notice may have been given, it is not excused. I do have the meetings across the columns, the meeting dates. The grade columns are our events that we held. So those aren't mandatory, but it is good to see what officers and delegates did attend those different functions. Our finances. This is a very important subject for our tribe. Right now, our checking account has less than $2,000 in it, so we want to be very frugal with how we spend our money. So as a comparison, we'll compare what we spent this year compared to what we spent in 2014, 2015, going by the election year, April to present. In 2014, 2015, this accounting was pulled from the bank account information and not from the treasurer's report, because the reports did not indicate what those funds were spent on. So you could see we spent a little bit over $1,500 for elections, $300 on Easter, $963 on the picnic, and $1,798.13 on Christmas. I did see that there was a deposit for $750 in June, which I think could be a donation, but it's not recorded as such, which means the total ATTHIA fund spent in 2014-2015 was $3,872.13. In 2015-2016, at our April meeting, we did have a vote to reimburse the person who had provided herring eggs for our Easter party. And the reimbursement was for the cost of shipping, which was $229.13, and the cost of the boxes that they were shipped in, which was another $200. And then we wanted to provide that person with a $50 gift as a thank you, and that was done in the April 2015 meeting. In December, $196 was spent on a post office box. The last time that we paid for a post office box was in 2013, so it expired in 2014. The gaming committee does need one for their business, so this was approved as regular business, so it didn't need to go to the membership for approval, but $196 was written to the U.S. Postal Service for us to get a new P.O. box. The social committee raised $1,050 in donations for our summer picnic and the Christmas party. So the total spent this year was $1,675.13 minus, that should be $1,050 raised. So the total ATTHIA fund spent was $675.13. In April 2015, committees were formed and each chair was given contact information for those interested in their committee. Those committees were Education, Finance, Legislative, Elections, Fish and Game, Resolutions, Cultural Social, Enrollment, Health and Welfare, Tribal Affairs, Veterans Affairs, Ways and Means, and Gaming. All chair people were asked to advertise any meetings at least 7 days in advance and to advertise on Facebook for tribal members and to notify committee members who had asked to be on the committee. And this is so that one person doesn't feel like they are coordinating everything and that there's a point person for each group and that person is the chair. And all of the chairs of the committees are officers except for the Veterans Affairs, and that was voted on in 2014 to be a tribal member. During our annual meeting, the plan was for these different reports to be delivered by the people that chair those committees. So Education, Legislative, Constitution, Fish and Game, Resolutions, Cultural Social, Health and Welfare, Tribal Affairs, Veterans Affairs, and Gaming. Next, the process was going to be to an endorsement from our community for Anchorage to submit for Large Tribe Community of the Year, nominations for Tribal Citizen or Delegate of the Year, and nominations for Emerging Leader. We did have 3 resolutions that were submitted for review during the annual meeting. They were not able to be approved and are tabled for the March 16th meeting. It was an opportunity for candidates, for officers or delegates to provide a candidate speech. They're limited to 3 minutes. Next, we have a timer that was going to be used for the purpose of making sure people had the same allotted amount of time. So that was a quick countdown for the purpose of this recording. And thank you so much for coming and hearing what we've been doing over this past year. Ganesh Cheesh.